So good morning. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy on February. Today it's number 5, okay? 2015. It's day number 10 into semester week number 5. So earlier this week, and actually last week, I have sent you a message, okay? Informing you that the two pairs to be formed in the team are supposed to give me a message individually as a member of your team through this hotline for this week. Now let's take a look at how many of you have already done this, okay? All right, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? 4, important, and one of these is to report the questionnaire to make sure I give you the reward. And how many of these are supposed to be teams? None of this, okay? So you need to give me information on the teams, okay? Which pair, okay, you have already selected to form a team with your pair. Now definitely, you can see the teaming information here, all right? Better say the pairing information here. It is somewhere here in week number 3, okay? So you can actually see pairing information, which is given here, to take a look at which pair you belong and which other pair you want to be merged to become a team, okay? So it's very important because this is the first week of your second learning contract, and if you look at the calendar, you have 2 more weeks to go, although, as I mentioned repeatedly, you will have 1 more week to do the submissions of your work. So you have 3.5 weeks left to get this job done, all right? So and the sooner you got your team formed, the sooner you can get the job started and organized. And remember, the theme for this particular second learning contract is self-regulated learning. So you need to have good discussions with your peer member, as well as with your team pair, to nail down what we are going to accomplish. Now, individually, you have control of what you need to do. For example, the journals. For example, the discussions with your peer member. Well, at least you informed your peer member, not the team pair yet. And then the report on the topic you select, right? And brought. But in the second learning contract, since we say that we have 2 pairs on each team, and instead of individual persons writing a report based on one person's topic, it's the 2 pairs, each pair contribute to one topic. Okay? So that means you have to work with your pair member to come up with a report on your pair's topic, and get that report on your pair's topic merged with the report on the other pair's topic, which is done by 2 persons instead of 1. Okay? So that it's a different requirement from the first learning contract. In the first learning contract, you select a topic, you write a journal, you discuss the topic with your learning partner, you write a report for your topic, and your learning partner write a report for his or her topic, and the 2 topics become the report, and you write a blog. In the second learning contract, you have a team which contains 2 pairs, and each pair is going to contribute 1 topic, and the pair is responsible for writing the report for that topic. Again, the whole team is going to turn up a report with 2 topics, but this time it's 1 topic per pair, all right? So the coordinations and collaborations is increasing, and so you have to experience the use of this manpower in your team to get something done. Well, if you look at it very carefully, this time you actually have 2 times the manpower to do the job that you are supposed to finish in the first learning contract. Okay? Now, are you ready to make the best use of that manpower? It very much depends on which pair will become your team pair. Okay? So you need time to discuss about this, and that's why when I came here, normally for this couple of days, I came in 5 minutes late to see if you are doing the discussion. I hoped you are doing the discussions to get the things done, because you need time to talk. And what time is better than the time you come to class? Okay? So spend about 5 to 10 minutes per class, particularly at the beginning of the class. If you are here on time, you will have 10 minutes to do team-based discussions together. Okay? You understand my intentions? Okay, that's good enough. Now, make sure you send me, or you better say, write me a post on week number 5 to Dr. Van's Q&A hotline, and let me know which pair will become your team's pair before the end of this week, okay? Before the end of this week, okay? So, if I could, I would give you another 10 minutes before I end the class today at 11:15. So I'll give you 10 minutes starting from 11:05 to help you to facilitate the team formations, okay? So you can expect 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after, it's 20 minutes time for you to organize your work. And I will do the same next week, okay? So make the best use of the time, because it's so much better if you can meet all of your members in class, all right? Let's get back to the business of this week. So what we have been talking about this week on topic number 1, it's privacy and encryptions. And topic number 2, which we're going to handle it today, is web attacks and internet vulnerabilities. Now before we give you the video, let me tell you something about web attack. Well, the very famous web attack, which you can remember about 2014, happening in Hong Kong, is during the time of June. Because at that time in Hong Kong, they have what we call the CISG referendum done by the people and organized by a couple of professors at Hong Kong University, because they would like to see how people would look at the possible choices in electing the chief executive in 2017. Okay, and you know what happened inside mainland China? They have a lot of regulations, that is, yes, I use the word regulations, because they want to have a hand control on the result of the elections. So, but a lot of the people in Hong Kong do not like this kind of arrangement. So, a couple of the organizations organize what we call the online voting for the people to vote on the possible choices. And the community offered 3 possible choices. And during the period when they are getting ready to organize and to stage the online voting, it is discovered that Hong Kong's website, particularly University of Hong Kong's website, was attacked by quite a large number of hackers, and it actually had some what we call the stop the website from working. But in less than 3 days, those people at the University of Hong Kong, they're about to stage the electronic voting system, got help from a specific company in the Silicon Valley in the United States. And the companies took over the voting system and are ready to allow the people to do the voting again. And then in just a matter of 1 week, we discovered that a hacker's attack to the proportions of a national attack happened in Hong Kong. And the whole situation was reported online as the most severe cyber war in history. And it was discovered that, you know what, this was not a secret. A lot of these attacks are initiated by what we call the Red Guards in China. The national Red Guards. They call it Red Guards, hackers. But it was initiated actually from different sides around the world. And then they defend the kind of attack in Hong Kong, and they map the whole interesting situations there. And you can easily look it up from the Google the news. It is one of the very interesting web attack happens in recent history. And they describe this as World War #3. Okay? So web attack means whenever there is a possibility for our system serving the web got attacked by bad intentions, what we call criminals, or you can say hackers. But hackers could be good, but it's the bad hackers. Okay? So the possibility of making the web attack feasible is because there is what we call a surface of weaknesses in the system. And because of the weakness part there, hackers could easily make the best use of these weaknesses in the system and hack into the system. So our people in ICT are working very hard every day to look at holes in the system, and they have to patch the holes in order not to allow any hackers to hack into the system and disrupt our work. So we're going to learn something about this. And another issue is the intellect vulnerability, which is exactly what I have just mentioned. Being vulnerable means you have a point of weaknesses where you can be hurt easily. Okay, I'm vulnerable because of my loving character. I love to trust people. Okay, but being able to trust people means sometimes you will be easily tricked by people with a heart of helping. So if the system welcomes people to do something on the platform, but without good protection, sometimes it's very easy for hackers, the term we use to describe someone who has the expertise to intrude the system, to do something bad. Okay? So today we're going to start with a review on day number 9 by helping you to understand the meaning of data protection first, and then we come to the ideas of hacking. All right? So let's come to this.
How often do you get asked for information about yourself, or fill in a form with your personal details? Maybe you work with other people's data. How do you know if you're handling it correctly? Whether you're concerned about your own personal data, or what other people do with yours, this is what you need to know about data protection. Before we look at the data protection principles and how we're protected, let's cover some basics about what personal data is and what data processing means. First off, meet Laura. In order for data to be personal data, it needs to be able to identify a living individual. So Laura's name by itself wouldn't be enough to identify her, but her name with her address would. Often when you're on the phone and the person you're speaking to wants to verify who you are, they'll ask for your name, address and date of birth. When these three are all together, that's an example of personal data. What firms do with this data is known as data processing, which is just about anything you do with the data, from gathering it, ordering it, storing it, and making sure it's secure to transport or transmit. And also it covers how you dispose of it when you don't need it anymore. Recently, Laura went online and bought some DVDs from Amazing.com. She gave them a lot of information about herself and her credit card details. In this situation, Laura is known as the data subject because the data is about her. Amazing.com is the data controller, as they decide how the data will be processed and what happens to it. Amazing.com outsources its customer support to a third-party call center. Employees in the call center have access to some of Amazing.com's records, but can only use this data for very specific purposes. Amazing.com is the data controller, and the call center is known as the data processor. So personal data is data which can identify a living individual who's known as the data subject. The data controller decides how this data is processed, and processing means just about everything that happens to the data. Now, there are some data protection principles. Let's have a look at them. An important part of processing data fairly and lawfully is the privacy notice. This, at a minimum, tells the data subject how their data will be used and asks for their consent to use it. Laura remembers being asked for her consent when she called up about her car insurance, and also there was a checkbox on the web application for a building society account. But when she asked about her life assurance, they said they needed some details about her health, and this is sensitive personal data. So she was told what this was going to be used for and was asked for her explicit consent for it to be used this way. Laura's health record, religious affiliations, racial and ethnic origin, political opinions, membership of trade unions, physical or mental health condition, a sexual life, and most things to do with any offences or alleged offences she may have committed are all sensitive personal data. It's fairly clear to see why it needs to be treated with greater care than other personal data, and why explicit consent is needed. Like many of us, Laura's got a bank account, car insurance and a mortgage. When she applied for these, she gave a lot of information about herself to the different firms, but the data she was asked for had to be relevant to those accounts. For example, the bank didn't need to know if Laura had any points on a driving licence, or even if she could drive, but the insurance company she used for her car insurance did. It sounds obvious, But it's important, because when data is collected, it has to be relevant to the purpose and context and not be excessive. Recently, Laura got married and took her husband's name, so data about her surname and marital status need to be updated, because data must be accurate and, where necessary, kept up to date. It looks like Laura can get a better deal on her car insurance and she wants to change provider. What happens to the data the old company holds about her? Well, they need to keep enough information for their records, but delete or dispose of anything that's no longer needed. Making sure it's disposed of securely, of course. We've all heard the stories. Hard drives found on rubbish tips, memory sticks with personal data have been lost, and so on. Laura expects, and the regulations require, firms to look after her data properly. This is more than storing data securely. It includes things like verification checks to make sure data is only given to the correct person. The way data is sent, for example, by fax, email, or over the phone. And it's also the reason many firms have a clear desk policy, so personal data isn't left lying around for all to see. Because if the genie ever gets out of the bottle, there's no putting him back. We live in a global economy, and often firms will store or move data to different parts of the world. If any of Laura's data is sent abroad, the data controller needs to be sure that it's processed with the same standards as it would be here. Laura, as a data subject, has certain rights. Let's have a look at some of them. She can write to a firm and request to see the information held about her. She'll have to pay a small fee. If any of her data is inaccurate, she can ask for it to be corrected. She can prevent her data from being used for direct marketing, and she has rights about decisions which are made by automated means. For example, if she applied for a loan and the decision was made purely by automated means, with no human intervention, then she could ask for this decision to be reconsidered. If a breach in the data protection principles caused Laura damage or distress, she might be able to claim compensation. There's quite a lot to data protection, and our personal data is important to us. Understanding what you need to do to comply with the legislation, and also how the legislation protects you and those around you, will help to make sure that data is processed fairly and lawfully.
Okay, you heard the story here, and this particular video, it's very good because it helps us to put things together, and by understanding the
Not many of us will leave our houses or cars unlocked, or leave valuables unattended.
Let's pause for this.
But when it comes to information,
Let's pause for this, okay? Indeed, let's try to get back here. Oh, yes, because I happen to forget about the latency. It's okay. I want you to spend a lot more than 5 minutes tonight, as we usually do, to try to understand the interesting points of context that is presented by this video. The name of this video that you just saw, it's called Data Protections, What You Need to Know. So what have you learned about your right to data protections in your daily living? Okay, examples. When you receive a call, okay, I just received a call from the CPM company informing me that your current mobile phone contract is up in about 1 week. You want to renew it or you want to leave it as it is? If you want to renew it, here are the benefits. Okay, you say yes. So can I confirm you with your identity? May I have your ID number? Okay, that is the things that they will ask me on that. And then the next thing they ask me is you will not receive anything more except that it will result in your receipt. Okay, so this is an example. Is my right protected? It's anything you can suggest. Okay, so we just have seen this video. Okay.
how often do you get asked for information about it?
Let's pause and give you not more than 5 minutes time and to share with your members, learning partner, what you've learned. We just need a photocopy of your passport. Okay. Do you remember? 6 minutes. Okay, try to recall something. Actually, there are a lot of good examples on this. The follow-up one, which I stopped there, is an excellent one. Data protections, what you need to know. Do you remember? You see, it's time for me to take a look at how many of you directly turn on your mobile phone and watch the video again and capture the points. All right? So do you remember something? How often do you get asked for information about yourself or fill in a form with your personal details? That is the leading sentence. Could you share with us some of your personal experience? How often do you get asked for information about yourself or fill in a form with your personal details? Just put in a little bit of time to think about this. Give an example of your living, all right? That's very good. Keep going with your discussions. I believe you've already shared quite a lot of good stories. All right. Let's hear. Let's hear some of your sharing. Hello, Timmy. Would you like to help us to understand some of your personal stories on someone asked you for your personal data? Under what circumstances in Macau or somewhere else? Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever met someone in the street? They say, could I stop you for a couple of minutes for a survey? And then these are just general questions, but towards the end they would say, may we have your phone number? No? Okay. Do you have any other story you can share with us? No. Not yet. Okay. Very good. What about you? Do you have anything to share with us? Okay. Can you pass the microphone? Maybe the lady, are you ready to help us to share something? Thank you. What do you think?
When I often book plane tickets online.
Okay.
So it needs so many information about me,
All
like credit card details of my credit card and email, like phone number, and so many. And when I book one ticket, sometimes I will receive many emails about some like restaurants in the place I want to go.
Yes.
Like advertisements.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that means that the information you enter through the airline company to book just a plane ticket have actually been shared with other company during restaurants or hotels, whatever it is. Okay, do you have that experience using a website inside China or outside China?
What?
Do you know where the website is? Is it some company inside China
Oh,
or outside?
inside.
Inside, okay. So do you believe they have been very aggressive in asking you for your response? Aggressive means they will always send you email until they get something from you?
Yeah. I don't want to receive any emails like that, but when I booked a ticket, I had to
Type in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Will they
I don't know
ask
what
you,
to do.
will you accept the terms of reference from this website before you proceed? Some of the company, before you could do a purchase or whatever it is, they will ask you. This I consider is very aggressive. If you want to proceed with the service provided by our company, please take yes or no of the data policies. That is somewhat like a declarations that I know the risks or I do not want to share something like that.
Oh, I never read.
Oh, okay, that's good enough. Thank you. What about your partner? Do you have any experience to share with us?
I just to show my information to some
You show your information.
some charity company,
Oh, okay.
such as I every year I go to the body check,
Okay.
and they will tell me to write some information, and
Okay.
I just write this for them.
Paper based.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
And
Nothing happened, right?
nothing happened.
Yeah. But is it a very personal information to write?
Yes.
Like the age? Or-
Age or last year they asked me, did you marry?
Okay. So a very personal information.
Yes.
But is this information to be used by the medical center or just by the clinic, or they are going to share that with someone? Do you know?
I think they did not go to share with someone
Okay.
because the
Yes.
government, yes.
Yeah.
Department.
One example that I could mention, as far as I remember, it's a personal health record. The government is building up for individual a personal electronic health record, so that they know what type you have. Are you allergic to a particular disease? So any case when you were administered to the hospital, they could easily look up your personal health data in order to help you the best they could. So they would like us to do something like, if we have a family doctor outside, they would like to ask for permission to send our health record from the family doctor to the central databases. So for you, in a particular regions, if Macau is one, they will have a record as a personal health record. Instead of always in a very emergency case, they ask for your family to, do you have any health record, because they do not know the history of your bodily health. Okay, that is legitimate, and I believe that is also very important too. But other than a case like this, maybe you can pass the microphone. Hello, Wysons or Billy, do you have anything to share with us?
So, in my experience, when you are searching for jobs, you always to provide your CV to the people.
Right.
Yeah, and when you entered the company, you need to write the private information, just
Okay.
like your ID, your address or something, other private information, and then the company will have you to give the foundation. Yeah.
Okay, that means for me, I remember this is true even at the University of Macau. If you happen to be
submitting an applications for a job here, they will definitely have a personal profile for your detail. And if indeed you succeed getting a job here, they will start creating a portfolio of your work here and keeping track of everything you do, starting from the first piece of information you submitted to a number of credentials you can create or accomplish throughout the years. And these are not supposed to be shared. Okay, these are very important confidential information. So the CV itself, it's a piece of paper. But today when we talk about a CV, it's a link to your personal portfolio. And sometimes this link is password protected. But today when we submit an application for job, it's mostly through an electronic CV where individual link to see the work you did or your accomplishment, it's already clear. So you can let the people take a look at your view over there. And each one of us need to learn how to manage this portfolio. I do not know if the University of Macau is going to let each alumni to process the Mahara portfolio. But I think the intentions of giving you a Mahara portfolio now is to make sure you have a chance to build up your personal accomplishment record or showcase record, and so that you can manage it even after you have graduated. But maybe they charge you a small amount of fee so that you will have a very good affiliations. You can always check my credential by going back to my University of Macau website. And that is very credible, right? Very professional. So thank you very much. Wyson, do you have anything to share with us?
Yes, I remember it's last year, maybe it's the last day of the last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to the library and outside the library.
Yes.
And then central library.
Yes.
And there are some people stopping people, someone to maybe they are the religion group.
Okay, religious group.
Yeah, they're asking people, do you have interest to join our to join our group and some activity for the last day and Christmas. Yeah,
Yes.
and he asked me for the phone number and what was my name and vision. Yes.
I think this has to be, you have to handle it with very high level of care sometimes, because when you pass the personal contact information to someone like this, on the one hand, they will consider you're willing to receive call from them,
Yes.
right? On the other hand, you're just giving them a very important piece of information that maybe they can make the best use of that through social engineering to get some other pieces of information. So sometimes that it's important that we know how to protect ourselves. Yes. Particularly in Macau, we have a lot of what we call the religious cult. That means they are not the proper streams of the religious group. They are the sidetrack, and the purpose is to make the best use of peoples. Okay, can you pass the microphone to Lancy? Hello, Lancy.
Hello, I think there are so many situations that somebody asked for my information.
Right.
For example, when I returned to my residential college late, the
Right.
security guard will ask me, write your name, your student ID card number,
Wow.
and your telephone.
Wow.
I don't know what she wants.
But that's your residential college, right?
Yes,
Yes,
but
you have a student card,
it's
right?
security,
Yeah.
I think. But sometimes I can't stand the Bank of China in Macau.
Okay.
Every day, it will send me an email that if you only the card of Bank of China, you can enjoy a discount
Right.
in certain stores such as 新800办 or Galaxy. I can't stand it.
So
But
these
I
are
can't afford-
promotions.
I can't afford it. But
These are promotions.
yes, so I think maybe I left my information not so carefully. So my email, my telephone number often 收到一些很奇怪的信息。
Right. So it's a form of what we call the daily harassment by people that you really don't want to hear anymore. So, you know, personally speaking, I hate to receive phone call. And they would just use less than 60 seconds to tell who they are, what they are calling you for, and eventually discover they are trying to promote something for you. And I say, no, I don't need it. Okay, so thank you very much for this. Is something we understand. Could you pass the microphone to the Yuman or Anna or whatever? Yes. Hello, Yuman. Do you have anything to share with us?
I think share something may let people to know about you, and then there will be a witness to finding a job.
Right. Actually, we need to provide certain amount of informations when we look for a job, because we need to provide a background through our CV, the work we have already accomplished. But sometimes beyond that, we will often ask the question, why do we need to give you? For example, in the CV in the past, people would just state the birthday, okay? But actually, this is not necessary, okay? People will also state the gender, male or female. Today, in many companies, this is not an issue. They will not ask you. Definitely, when you were invited for interview, they would know who you are, right? So this is sensitive information to be managed or handled with a certain amount of care. But we need to be educated how to handle them. Yes. Thank you, Yuman. Can you pass the microphone to say Anna and Sammy? Hello. Hello, Sammy.
The video actually remind me of some experience that when I'm in mainland China, sometimes you went to some public area or some restaurants like
Right.
McDonald's, and they will provide free Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But if you want to connect to their Wi-Fi, there will be a page that needs you to give some your personal information.
Wow.
And after you give that information, then you can use their Wi-Fi.
Okay. So that
I
is.
think there's maybe they are using this way to gather some information from their customers and,
Yeah.
and maybe sell this information to some other companies.
Right.
I don't know, but actually I think it's sometimes it's dangerous and annoying.
Yes, I think it's not a good way to say to attract customer. Normally, these free Wi-Fi should be offered without any commitments, right? We say it without any strings attached. That means we do not need to worry anything about it. We can use them. But when I hear that you say that actually when they require the customer to register or provide some kind of information before they can use it, that is quite sensitive. Yes, thank you very much. What about you, Anna?
Hello. I think only after I was treated or bothered, well, I asked for my information.
Okay.
In my memory, once, just last year, when I set down some information before the college entrance examination, our school asked us to write down our security card number and our name.
Right.
So, however, after I took the examination, I hear from a letter, which is from we call it Gaofu school.
Right.
It's really ridiculous for me. And another thing is that maybe 2 months ago I want to buy a ticket, and I went to the official webmail or hallway, China hallway.
Okay.
Or subway. But it said my information is has been used, and I can't register with my own identity card number.
Wow.
Maybe I think it's my school which stole my information.
Yes, this is called identity theft. That means someone steal your identity and do something on your behalf without your understanding.
Yeah.
So that is dangerous. Yes, thank you very much for sharing us with that. So, do you have any follow-up with that after this?
I took some information and it showed me that I can go to the station to ask for the officer to
Yeah.
help me take my own ID card and check it.
Okay, so you see, the many situations currently happening in China that worries me, and sometimes you do not know where to ask for help. Sometimes it's now, for example, the reasons why we have the Office of Personal Data and Privacy in Macau is because in the past many companies have used our personal documents in a way that is considered as less careful, very careless. If I remember correctly, they would Xerox your ID card, and many people's ID card will be Xerox and put on their table and do a whole stack of information, and they would process it as a batch. And then what if someone steal your ID card copy, and they would know your ID card number and know all your detail. In the past, the staff would not be careful enough that these are not to be sold on the table. But today, because of the regulations or whatever it is, there is a lot of improvement in the car. Okay, so let us get back to, let's see. Yes, right here. Because we have to make you the best use of time to do that. So this is week number 5, and we've just reviewed what we what you should know on date number 9. And so let's get to the core of today. Let's take a look at the ideas of, let's say this is a good one. Yeah.
Welcome to McCann Investigation's Introduction to Vulnerability Assessments. Timely identification and remediation of network vulnerabilities is something every organization needs before hackers or disgruntled insiders exploit the weaknesses. The process of identifying vulnerabilities, evaluating risk, remediation, and reporting is called vulnerability management. By using formal vulnerability management processes, organizations are able to more efficiently find and fix security vulnerabilities within their network. In this video, we will provide a brief overview of network vulnerability assessments, including internal and external network breach assessments, penetration testing, wireless network testing, and social engineering testing. Network breaches. Internal network breach assessment. The internal network breach assessment can be performed in conjunction with the external test and includes an in-depth analysis of the customer's internal network. It is estimated that approximately 80% of security breaches occur from inside the internal network. This network breach assessment will analyze the risk to internal devices and suggest specific hardening techniques to resolve any concerns that are identified. External network breach assessments. Vulnerabilities that may exist between a customer's external network and the internet. This service simulates various electronic attack methods that could be launched against an internet access point. Wireless network assessment. Wireless technologies do not have the physical restrictions used in traditional wired environments. They make it possible for someone in the lobby, the parking lot, or across the street to have access to a network carrying sensitive financial or corporate data, personal or customer information, competitive data, or trade secrets. Our assessment will help you to identify insecure wireless implementations that put your organization at risk. Penetration testing. Penetration testing is a method of probing and identifying security vulnerabilities in your network and the extent to which they could be exploited by a hacker. These tests are typically performed using automated tools that look for specific weaknesses, technical flaws, or vulnerabilities to exploit. The results are presented to the system owner with an assessment of their risk to the networked environment and a remediation plan highlighting the steps needed to eliminate the exposures. Testing mimics the activity of the determined hacker. Procedures are tailored according to client-specific needs and concerns, helping to increase cost effectiveness. Depth of penetration testing is determined by the client. Basic attempts of unauthorized access, website defacement, full-scale denial of service. Wireless network testing. McCann utilizes wireless equipment and tools to locate and assess wireless networks and rogue access points. We will review policies and procedures, architecture, configuration, and monitoring procedures for alignment with industry best practices. Discovery of all wireless access points and clients. McCann performs a site survey to discover all existing wireless access points and clients. McCann will also note any external wireless network whose signal range enters your premises. Optionally, McCann can map all access points to a floor plan if available. Validation of wireless network perimeter. One of the reasons wireless security is so complex is that wireless networks are not limited to the physical boundaries of your buildings. Using directional antennas, McCann maps the actual perimeter of your network that is vulnerable. We also provide advice on how to limit unnecessary exposure to the outside world. Vulnerability and penetration testing of access points. Using a variety of tools, McCann will sniff and capture ongoing wireless traffic and attempt to compromise the utilized encryption and break into wireless access points and clients. Configuration review of access points and wireless clients. McCann will review the configuration of wireless devices. We validate the configuration by comparing it against a random sampling of access points and clients to check that deployments are consistent with these guidelines. Social engineering testing. Social engineering is a term that describes the non-technical intrusion into an organization that relies on human interaction, often involving tricking people in order to break normal security policies. Social engineering techniques include everything from phone calls with requests to people with administrative privileges to Trojans lurking behind email messages that attempt to lure the user into opening the attachments. External social engineering. Phone calls targeting individuals from the help desk, IT department, human resources, or finance. Targeted email phishing attacks. Emails sent to individuals enticing them to click on an external link. Malicious portable media. USB flash drives and CD-ROMs with enticing labels such as salaries left in public areas such as hallways, restrooms, and break rooms. Sensitive document disposal audit, otherwise known as dumpster diving. McCann will search internal trash receptacles and external dumpster areas for sensitive documents. This concludes McCann Investigations' Introduction to Vulnerability Assessments. I hope that you enjoyed this video. To learn more about McCann Investigations, please visit us on the web at www.mccanninvestigations.com.
Okay, this is a very interesting video, but a little bit technical, so I have to add some annotations to the video. First of all, how are we going to use this video? Okay, So the way to use this video is to use it as the basis for us to understand some of the measures currently put in place globally in every corporations with a scale of using computer. Okay, you could imagine today when you go to work in a specific company, you will normally be assigned to use a computer. Very seldom, when you work for a company today, you do not need to use computer at all. Because in order to make the best use of you as a manpower of the company needs your input into the system. And normally the system is in the form of clusters of computers. And they need to collect the people using different computer to perform the company's task. And because of that, they will put in place what we call a policy for information security and privacy. The policy states that each employee has to follow certain rules, okay? And each employee will be given certain privilege to access different type of data. And normally, you cannot access data outside of your range, okay? So the policies implement the policies regulate the range of access for individuals using the company's computer, okay? And definitely, you cannot breach the particular range of your access privilege. If at any time you were detected to go outside your range of access privilege and get access to information that is not your domain, now you will be kept track of and filed for a specific case of violations. And how does the company manage that? And how does the company know something about this? Well, in this particular video that you just saw, you have learned something called an internal security breach, an external security breach. If you were hired as an employee of a company and you are trying to go beyond your access privilege to access something, and you succeed that is an example of internal security breach. Okay? Now, but if you are not a member of the company, you're just a hacker, you want to hack into the company and get access to different kind of information, is an external security breach. Okay? So, and then this particular specific company called McCain helped us to understand one example of the information security mechanisms that is put in place in the particular company. And they try to link all the internal, external security breaches, as well as the kind of deliberate experiment called penetration testing. Penetration testing means now that you say you have a very safe environment and everybody is doing a job based on the regulated access privilege. Let's try to see if we could breach your policy or the mechanism by penetrating into the system both from inside the company or from outside the company. And then the result will be sold to the company to take a look at as a review of the security mechanisms. Okay? And one of these include the social engineering testing. Okay? And they list out the possible scenarios when people could actually be tricked to give up information considered as sensitive to the company. And one of these is normally phone call. Okay? Inside the company, when you are working in particular positions, you know that you have the privilege to get access to the system using your assigned password. Now, if a hacker is able to trick you through social engineering skill to obtain your password, the hacker could act on your behalf, get into the system to access your informations, and then try to link the information from your side to others. Now that is a very interesting thing that you need to know. Now what we're talking about is online security. And most often, when we talk about online security today using computer, is on a web server. Okay? A web server, an internal web server or web server will serve the needs of the customer outside. So that falls into the web attack category. Now, before we end today's class, which is already 11 night, let's go back to the very basics on ethical hacking. That is something on the penetration, okay? Just give you a couple of minutes.
First off, defining the concept of ethical hacking. Ethical hacking at its core is using the techniques and tools, the approaches, the attacks that an attacker would use to identify vulnerabilities, document the vulnerabilities, and plan remediation. Many times, folks that aren't as familiar with security penetration tests or security analysis just assume that all security experts, especially IT security experts, are the same, that they use the same techniques, the same tools. They assume an auditor is the same as an analyst. They assume an ethical hacker uses the same tools as those folks as well. And that's simply not the case. Ethical hacking is different in this core function in that it uses the exact same methodology, the exact same tools that a hacker would use. Someone outside frequently the company, someone out of control of the company, to actually understand the network, penetrate, compromise, but do it in a way that's ethical, meaning that they document this, that they record the steps, they record the breaches, they record the parameters that they've used so that later on analysts and auditors can come and look at those results and determine what things may need to be done in the future to help prevent similar attacks, but from an unethical hacker down the road. This is a key difference. This key approach difference is really what separates this from anything else out there. When we talk about ethical hacking as well, one thing to remember is that ethical hackers follow specific rules and guidelines, and these are really, really important. The core rules of ethical hacking, first and foremost, do no harm. Do not destroy assets, do not wreck networks, do not deny service and actually affect real use of systems. Do not lock people out in a way that's not part of the plan. So doing no harm is really the big distinction between a cracker and an ethical hacker. A cracker or a true attacker, as part of their attack, may want to do harm, whether it's compromise sensitive data, deny service to legitimate users, destroy assets, and so forth. Ethical hacking differs there in that typically there's no destruction and no harm done. Ethical hacking is also really rooted in boundaries, understanding what systems can and cannot be attacked. For example, an online database that's critical to customer data or critical to transactions. That kind of database should never be attacked by an ethical hacker unless it's part of the ethical hacker's boundaries, unless that database is specifically included. Most businesses that are being run 24 hours, 7 days, most businesses will not want an ethical hacker to approach any critical business systems because it could simply impact business. So understanding what those boundaries are up front and then honoring those boundaries is absolutely critical. Countermeasures are not part of the ethical hacking process. As you're examining networks and footprinting and determining vulnerabilities and installing compromises, that process doesn't include at every stage, well, I wonder how I would defend against this. That's not part of ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is getting in, finding the vulnerabilities, documenting as you go, certainly, but countermeasures are usually considered only after an entire ethical hacking process is complete. After you're successful, after you've compromised vulnerabilities, after you've actually owned the network, so to speak, that's when you worry about, I wonder how this company, my company, any company could protect against this. That's when that research happens. Sometimes it's a natural outcropping of the attack itself, and that's great. Document that, but do not focus on countermeasures during ethical hacking. All of this should be in agreement, written agreement, with whoever is the subject of this ethical hacking process. If you're a consultant and you've been brought in to determine vulnerabilities and risk exposure for a company, getting agreement on what are the critical systems, what are the boundaries, what are the targets, what are the areas of concern is really important, and it has to be done in advance. It can't be done during the process. You can't stumble across customer database number 72 and raise your hand and ask, is it okay if I hack this database? That's not the proper approach to ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is an understanding these systems are off limits. Those systems are inbounds. These systems are the systems that we're most concerned about, or the data over here is the data we're most concerned about. And documentation is absolutely critical. I recommend that you thoroughly document every step, every process, every keystroke you make, frequently using things like Camtasia to record video or getting screenshots, having a notebook where you jot down notes as you're doing things, commands you run, data you get, and so forth. Saving all of that in a special place on your hard drive or on the network, having a nice backup of it, that's absolutely crucial as well. Both to ensure that you capture everything, every part of the attack, all of the compromises, success and failure and so forth, and also for personal liability reasons to ensure that you show exactly what you did do and exactly what you did not do.
Now, this is a very good video, the first of a number of series of videos you can see right here, and actually I have already captured some of those very excellent links here for those of you who want the details. Now, I just want to supplement this video with a very interesting annotations. There is a profession today called ethical hackers. A hacker not only represents someone with the expertise to intrude in the computer system and do whatever they want, suppose as transfer money between one bank account and the other, and do some kind of manipulations of records. But in the world, there are hackers who have this expertise turned into good people. And a lot of companies look to those good guys now with the expertise to check on the security of the system, to find out the vulnerability of the system. And they are paid to do this job. But as you can hear from the video, the first principle of they doing that is to do no harm to the system, but just to check on how strong the system is and how many weak points exist in the system. So if you look at the examples here, all these represent possible weak points and how the web attack could be launched to attack the system. Now, so much for today. Allow me to take attendance and give you a little bit more time for putting together as teams. I have to be very sensitive in the use of time. Okay. Alright, so Angel is here, Jancy is not here, Horace is not here, and Andy is here, Anna is here, Andy is here, Billy is here, Giles is here, right? Timmy is here, Wyson is here, Sammy is here, Lancy is here, Sophie, thank you, Edward is here. So let me check. Right. Yes, thank you very much. Now, allow me to remind you one more time. You need to have a team call. Our team here, okay? So do something about this, and please get me informed of your team formations by writing me messages in week number 5 Dr. One Q&A hotline, okay? Before the end of this week. And for those of you who have not done the survey, okay? You still have a chance, okay? by 11:55 tonight, you can still do it. I got 11 of you who did it, and we have 14 students in this class, so 3 more I expect you to do it, okay? So let me stop today's class right here and give you time to do discussions on the team. That's it for today's CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy on February 5th, 2015, okay? And of course, if you have a question, you can state it right and ask me.